SANDRA'S HEART TALE, Part 3, Bahama's Heart. My mom couldn't bear seeing me in tears. She decided to talk to my sister instead. When Lucia returned home from her first semester break, my mom confided in her and told her the truth about who my real father was, and also told her she doesn't know if my dad is aware because from his behavior, it seems he knows something. My mother says she will rather die in silence than to admit such to my dad. Lucia was shocked and pleaded with my mom to tell me that it was only fair for me to know the truth than to be going through unknown trauma. My kid sister was deeply hurt because she had also spoken to our dad about me not going to school but was ignored as well. A few days later, after my mom spoke to her, Lucia decided that she will reveal the secret to me. Since my mom was afraid of opening up to me, my sister was determined to tell me everything that needed to be known. Lucia came to me and began to explain everything that she was told. She even mentioned that probably my dad also knows everything. That might be his reason for punishing me and making me to remain at home. I was really devastated. It was just too much to take in. I cried and couldn't control myself. I had to leave home and stayed in church for some days. I could not bear to look at my mother's face. I was very angry with her for what she caused me and kept it away from me all this while. My mom called severally, but I refused to take any of her calls nor reply her messages. Even Lucia was calling, but I didn't answer it. I only replied to her messages and told her exactly where I was. I asked her not to bother coming to see me because I needed enough time to clear my head, and they all decided to let me be. My dad was not aware when all this was happening in the house. Perhaps they told him I'm spending some time in church, and to him that was not really a problem since his love towards me was not genuine. I guess my presence always irritates him. He probably saw me as a product of my mother's infidelity. After 3 days of staying in church, on the fourth day, I returned home. My mother kept begging me to forgive her. It was hard for me, but I had to because she is my mother and will always be my mother, and I love her for loving me. It was really a very sad period for me. I later told my mom that I would forgive her on the condition that she takes me to my real father, and she accepted. When she accepted, she started making arrangements. She summoned courage to contact Palo, and they agreed on when to meet. My stepfather was never aware of what I was going through. We acted as if nothing happened and he was still in his silent way. Finally, the day came when I had to meet my real father. We made arrangements, both my mom and I. We traveled to the state where my real father was based, and since he was not in the same state with us, it was quite a long journey. My mom communicated with him and he sent an address where we will meet him. Lucia was the only person who knew about our trip. Though it hot, but I was excited to meet my father. When we got there, we didn't go to his house. Instead, we meet at at one restaurant. It was so exciting to see. He was so excited to see me with tears in his eyes. He hugged me so tight. I could not hold myself but to cry, and he could not get hands off me. After some time, we all seated. He ordered food for us and drink. I saw how relieved my mom was as we sat round the table eating. Meeting my father for the first time was like I knew him for years already because I felt the special love. And indeed, we look almost alike, just that he's black in complexion while I'm fair, like my mother. Most people used to tell me I look like my mom, but I saw my dad and realized I only have my mom's color, but I look so much like my father. After we were done eating, my father starts by apologizing for not being by my side all this while and told me he made attempts severally, many times to get in contact with me, but my mom refused him from doing so. My mom made us know that she had no intention of doing so. I made it clear that her only reason was that she never wanted to destroy his family and as well as her own family. But the way things were moving, she could no longer keep it a secret from me because I was asking a lot of questions that needed an answer and also going through difficult time. My father asked what I was doing at the moment. According to him, I must have been done with my university study. But to his greatest surprise, I wasn't. I've not even started yet. I explained to him how I have been home all this while because my stepfather had no money for me to further my studies. I never told him that my kid sister was already in high school, in the high institution studying business administration. My father could not blame anyone but himself because I was indeed his responsibility and he failed in that. I also blame my mom for not telling him because he was well to do. He work in a big company. I also have a lesser responsibility since his wife has no kid yet. So he promised to resume his responsibility to me, and he said if I ever need anything, I should not hesitate to tell him. He later took my mom and I to the bus station, and we took a bus back home. It was a long journey, yes, but we arrived home very late. On arriving home, we met my stepdad in the sitting room watching football. I greeted him before heading straight to our room. My mom did the same too. After some time, my mom went and joined my stepfather in the sitting room, thinking he would ask her where we were coming from. I'm sure she already have answer in her mind just in case he asks her anything. But my dad didn't ask. Surprisingly, he was busy with his football match, so my mom left him and retired to her room. Throughout the night, I could not sleep. I was happy, and finally, I met my father. He assured me that I will be going to the university soon. I had a beautiful night after a long time of sleepless night. Lucia was also happy for me and kept it as a secret from my father, from my stepfather. My real dad always called to check up on me and send me money most often. My stepfather was still not aware that I was communicating with my real father. My kid sister break ended and she went back to school. I used some of the money my father usually sent to me and registered for a computer class while waiting for a new academic year to begin. I attended a computer class for 3 months. Sometimes my father would drive down to my town and give me a call. I would go and join him and spend few hours with him in a fast food or any hangar park before going home. Finally, I was done with my computer class and the time came for me to apply for university. I bought the form and did every necessary thing that was required. It was like a dream come true when I got an admission to study my preferred course in the university. I was so excited. I was so happy. And my mother was happy for me too. She told my stepfather that she can't allow me to stay home anymore, that she's going to take care of my education all by herself, that she intend opening business that will help her do what she needed to do to be able to pay my fees. We all kept the real fact from my stepfather a secret. We did not tell him the main truth. My stepfather listened to every word she said but didn't reply. Viva later asked my mom how I managed to get into school and was able to clear all my school fees. My mom told her everything, how Palo took the responsibility of taking care of me and my education. My mom asked her never to reveal it to anyone, especially my dad. And she promised my mom that all her secrets are safe. My stepfather, my stepfather attitude started getting more worst. Sometimes he would stay a weekend without coming home. That did not trouble my mom anymore. All her concern was on her children. She was happy that I was finally in school. Lucia too, although she was far ahead of me and my two kid brother. They were all still in secondary school. My dad, my real father, Palo, gave me some money to look for a good hostel where I would live. I left the house early morning when my stepfather was off for work. I went in search for a school hostel where I would live. I did not succeed that day. The next day, I went and my kid sister came to join me. We saw a good place where I could stay. I paid for it and everything was put in place. My real father's Palo bought everything I needed before I moved in. My hostel wasn't far from the school. I had everything because Palo made sure of that. I focused on my study with a big smile on my face. But my stepfather attitude kept worsening the situation. My mom no longer worry or care. We are glad that he knows nothing about the real person that was sponsoring my studies. And Viva, who my mom trusted so much, has kept it a secret as my mom would think. Okay, let's find out what happened next in part 4 of Sandra's Heart Tale.